Hello folks, I'm Danny Crumno, and this is going to be my second section on firearms here. I've done one on pistol, that was section 1, and those were carry pistols. This other section is going to be about rifles. Now, if you decide you want me to do another section on suppressors, I'll be glad to do that, and I may touch on suppressors a little bit in this one because I haven't had much experience with pistol suppressors. I only carry pistols. I don't suppress them. But rifles, I won't hardly shoot one without a suppressor on it. So I'm going to start off with my favorite around the house rifle here. And this is going to be a CMMG 45 ACP. And you notice that it does have that man killer stock on the back. This has an 8-inch barrel, and since it's an 8-inch barrel, it originally started life as a pistol, and it had a pistol brace on the back. I have added this just absolutely deadly stock back here, and that made it a SBR. So this is a registered NFA SBR. So I don't need to hear that, this is not legal. It is absolutely legal in NFA. I have a stamp for the suppressor and a stamp for the rifle. Now, the other thing that a lot of people miss is putting a vertical foregrip on that. Yes, now I don't know why you'd want that. I've never desired a foregrip on it, but if you put a vertical foregrip on it, that changes it from a pistol to a SBR. So be aware of that. This is in 45 ACP, got a light on it. I use this as a round the house gun for self-defense. We've got a lot of man-eating armadillos around here. This is very good for dispatching those. I do not like losing my 45 ACP cases, so I have a shell catcher. And I also have the Hollow Sun on here. One reason I like the Hollow Sun is this right here. You flip that thing over, and now you've got a 3X scope with a reticle in front. Flip it back, just a plain old red dot. I like this Hollow Sun because it also has a solar recharge thing on it, and it automatically adjusts for night. Another thing about it is that the Hollow Sun cuts itself off, and as soon as you move the rifle, it cuts itself back on. Supposedly this lasts for thousands of hours before you have to replace the battery. Now, this gun is loaded. I never leave this gun unloaded. If I grab one for anything around the house, this is it. Now, this is not a long-range gun. I can hit a man real easily with it at 100 yards, but generally, you want to think 50 yards and all that. It's just not a long-range gun. A lot of the soldiers, World War II, they used the old Thompson. Now, I don't know how they toted that thing. It's heavy as a rock. But they did, and it's been proven that a 45 ACP will kill a man at 400 yards or so. So don't rule out 45 ACP. Now, these rifles are nothing like the old Thompsons. The old Thompsons were very, very, very reliable. And the reason being, they had whole lots less moving parts. All they had was a big, heavy carrier block right there, and had 2 springs on it, and it had a protrusion or tit, if you might call it. When the thing closed, it set off the next round. It fired from an open bolt. The only thing the trigger had was a catch on it that stopped the bolt from cycling when you let go of it. It was, it was so simple that there was not many parts to fail. This, of course, fires from a closed bolt. It's a CMMG, and I really like this thing. Okay, put that down for a second. Most people are looking for guidance. I'm going to go deer hunting. What is the best for deer hunting? Well, I'm here to tell you, there ain't one deer rifle out there for me. And that's going to be a 270. This is a 270 Winchester. This is a Model 70. I didn't buy this gun. I won this gun in a drawing. And it came from Walmart at the time. And it wouldn't shoot very well. It had a warp stock on it. I cut the material out of the stock, refinished it. This thing, I don't know how many deer it's killed, but it's been a bunch, believe me. I'm talking about a bunch of deer. This has got an old-timey Weaver 3x9 scope on it. And back, I don't know when I got this, it may have been late 80s, early 90s, something like that. Weaver was making these scopes, and they were steel. These are not aluminum. And I set this thing up, and it shoots 4 to 5 inches high at 100 yards. Well, I shoot reloads, 270 grain, 130 grain ballistic tip bullets. And the way I judge distance is if I'm sitting at a deer stand and I can see the deer pretty well with my naked eye, he's close enough. I'll just put it on it, pull the trigger, and that deer will go down. It may have to allow for a little wind, but anyhow, this is the best deer rifle you can get. This is a Winchester, Model 70, and a 270. I shoot 130 grain ballistic tip bullets, and it is by far the best deer killer. They will not usually run at all. If they do, it ain't but a few steps if you hit them anywhere decent. So, saying that, we're going to move on to the next rifle. Okay. This was all the rage a while back. This is a 6.5 Grendel, and this, I think, has a that armory up there, upper on it. It's a cheap upper and a DPMS lower. Palmetto Armory. Took me a while to think of it. But anyhow, this is a 6.5 Grendel. This was used for shooting hogs. It has an AGM sight on it. I reload. I used 100 grain bullets on it. It has a silencer suppressor on it. Now, I'm here to tell you, unless you hit them in the neck or the head, 6.5 Grendel is not very good at taking down hogs. It just won't do it. Now, small hog, yes, but larger ones, no. You got to hit them in the neck or the head to really take them down. The good thing is 6.5 Grendel has very little recoil. It is plenty for deer. It's just a good gun. Although this is Palmetto Armory, this gun just don't jam. I mean, it has always been 100%. Now, that silencer suppressor that I got on the end, now it's had a few problems. It just doesn't hardly work very well on a 308. It is very restrictive. Works good on the AR-15, or of course this is the AR-15 setup here, but on the 308 it causes most of them to jam. So be careful if you've got a silencer suppressor putting it on the 308. And on this, I've had this on this 6.5 Grendel. I've had it on 223 AR-15. Works perfect. Of course, it's going to work on any bolt gun, but be careful if you put it on an automatic 308. 6.5 Grendel. And this one here has one of those brass catches on it. When I shoot anything in the field, I do not like to leave any brass or any, anything there that lets people know I've been there. This is a Rattler version 1 thermal, and these things have been very good. I wish that AGM would make a couple little changes, and I know I'm saying that it's probably nowhere near that easy, but this would be the perfect scope. This is a 384 35 millimeter, and the only thing I don't like about it is that the crosshairs, you cannot turn up the brightness on them. But otherwise than that, it's been good. I don't know how many thousands of rounds. I don't know how many thousand hogs this has killed, but it's a bunch, believe me. 6.5 Grendel. This thing here, if you're wondering what that is, that's a power supply for the thermal so that I don't have to use batteries. That'll last a long time. Okay, let's grab another one. Okay, I want to add a little bit to that Grendel narrative. The Grendel is a parent case for all these ARC, 6 millimeter ARC, and I don't know, what all they've got now, but the case is the same. If you're going to shoot hogs, I would suggest with a 6.5, it's just a little bigger hole. Okay, on to the next one here. This is a brace built 308. They call these AR-10s. Now, I don't have a sight on this one. My son made off with my thermal that goes on this one. .308 is pretty good for hogs. It'll put them down. Now, I told you I had problems with the suppressors on .308. I definitely did. Kind of solved that by using a Yankee Hill machine resonator, putting that on there. This gun does have an adjustable gas block, and it also has an adjustable bolt carrier group, in addition to extra heavy buffer spring in it, extra heavy buffer. And that was the only way that I could make this gun reliable. And I still wouldn't call it just completely reliable. But it does, for .308, this will put the hogs down. Now again, I reload. I would suggest that anybody that's working up a load, you really need to try to use standard everyday bullets. On a .308, that'd be 150 grain. Now I use 125 grain soft points. I think they call them Pro Hunters, and that's what I use in the .308. They're quite a bit faster, and they get more shock, and it, seems to take the hogs down a little better. But again, .308 AR-10 platform does a good job, but it really took me a lot of experimentation and messing with this to make it completely reliable. And I still wouldn't say it's completely reliable. I don't shoot it that much no more. Okay, on to the next gun. Okay, this is going to be a DPMS 223, or let's see, it may be 556. I really, technically there is a difference, but you're pretty much using them interchangeably. Now, self-defense, 223, this is called a Sweet 16. My silencer co screws right on that suppressor, no problems. This one don't jam. I have got a scope on it. I use this for varmint hunting. This thing makes a ragged hole at 100 yards. I mean, it's a very, very good shooter. I would not deer hunt with this. 223 is not good for putting down deer. They're going to run on you. They can deer are tough. Hogs, you hardly ever knock a hog down with a 223 or a 556. The only difference there is if you hit them in the neck or the head, yeah, they'll go down. But that's the first shot. You get one, and then you got to shoot at them running, and very rarely will you hit them really good. And if you don't hit them in the neck or the head with a 223, they're not going down. Anyhow, this is what they call the Sweet 16. It's got a bull barrel on the front. It's actually stainless steel. I painted it with barbecue black. I didn't like that being so shiny. But this is a self-defense. It's got a really good Leopold on it. Let's see, it says a VX3, 4.5 by 14. Anyhow, very good gun. All right, on to the next one. All right. This is another Palmetto Arms, and this is a 300 Blackout. Again, the silencer coil will screw right on this one. I haven't shot this a lot. I have killed quite a few hogs with it when it had a thermal on it. Now, this is good for a maximum of about 125 yards. 300 Blackout, let me explain something here. The reason these are so popular is because with a suppressor or whatever, the 300 Blackout was designed to function semi-automatic with either supersonic rounds or subsonic rounds. Subsonic rounds in a suppressor are very, very quiet. They're almost movie theater quiet with subsonic rounds. So that's one reason that a lot of people get the 300 Blackout. But they spend that money and take what I call a really underpowered gun, thinking that they're going to be able to sneak up on hogs or deer or whatever, shoot them, and not have everything around them run off. Well, herein lies the problem. If I shoot a hog with this 300 Blackout with a subsonic, yeah, it makes very little noise going off. But when that bullet hits, it sounds like a professional football player punting a football. It has a whop, a hollow sound like a drum. And you can't stop or control that. It's always going to sound like that. Now, if you shoot the supersonics, they're going to crack because they're above the sound barrier when they come out of the barrel, and they're going to have that thump. Now, if you want to try to run the hogs a different way, don't shoot the closest hog. Shoot the farthest one and hope that they'll hear that thump and run towards you. So, that's the deal. 300 Blackout is not bad for deer as long as you keep it close and you shoot supersonic. Now, I'm not a proponent of subsonic rounds. Not at all. They're just underpowered. So, if you hit your animal, they're going to run regardless because they hear that thump. And otherwise than that, stay supersonic. Now, my first gun I showed you was the 45 ACP. That one, even with factory loads, is always going to be subsonic. So you're always going to have that thump. Now, if you decided to get, like I have a 9mm CMMG that's almost just like this. Only thing, I haven't registered to that one as a SBR. I left the pistol brace on it. I'd show it to you. It's sitting over there. But the thing is, most all rounds out of that are going to be supersonic. They're going to be a little louder because of the crack. The other problem is that if you shoot the 147s out of it, they may be subsonic and they may not. It's kind of a line there. Now, you have to be careful because although they say a 9mm is close to a 30 caliber can, it's not. They are like 35 or something like that. All I know is I have an Alaskan, rugged Alaskan 360 on mine. So a 30 caliber can on that, you're liable to get a baffle strike. So be careful if you want to put a suppressor on a 9mm. You need to have something other than a 30 caliber can. Now, on my 45 ACP that I've got laying here, I have a rugged 45 Obsidian. Now, you can take that suppressor and put it on any caliber that's smaller than the 45. I'm talking, it can go on 9mm, it can go on 308, it can go on anything smaller than a 45. So, you know, buying an Alaskan 360 will work on any of your 30 caliber rifles. So I told you I wasn't going to get into suppressors much. Trying not to here. But anyhow, back to the 300 Blackout. I use this when I'm walking through the woods in the daytime, maybe looking for a hog or something close. This has got a Leopold pig scope on it. And I really like the reticle in it. It's good. It doesn't jam. 300 Blackout can be made from 223 brass. It's very popular. You can get ammunition almost anywhere. Okay, one more, and this is going to be the last one. Okay, this is my principal hog rifle here. I've got a lot more rifles I'm not showing you. You know, I've got Ruger 1022s and all kinds of stuff, a bunch of bolt action 308s. In fact, I may show you that one 308 I've got. Anyhow, this is my principal hog rifle. Now, this has got a resonator scope on it. And I forget who makes that cover. I just wish they'd hurry up and make some more. This is a 6mm Creedmoor. No, this is not a 6.5 Creedmoor. This is a 6mm Creedmoor. I load for this, and this puts the hogs down. Yeah, you got to hit them pretty good, but this will put them down regardless of whether you hit them in the shoulder, the neck, or the head. You shoot them in the butt, they're probably going to run off. But I have shot a few in the butt. They didn't go far and give me another shot. This is a Ruger American. I've got a magazine on it. I think these use AICS or something like that. This is my principal hog rifle right here. Another AGM Rattler scope on it. 384 35mm. Also got this power supply here. You know, I don't like using them batteries. I just put that power supply on it. I can turn this on, it'll run all night long. Don't have to worry about battery running down. And if you look, you see it's discolored and all that. That's from clamping it in. I've killed a bunch of hogs with this. I don't know, maybe 100. Not as many. We're not getting into as many hogs as we used to, but again, Ruger American 6mm Creedmoor. Now I'm going to show you one more. Okay. This is another Ruger American in 308. Don't have a suppressor on it. The resonator screws right on the end there. Bolt action. Uses a magazine, AICS. But this has a Burris Eliminator 3 scope on it. What happens is you sitting in a deer stand or wherever, and you decide to shoot a deer or hog, whatever you're going to shoot at, you press that button and it shoots a laser and tells the scope and you how far it is. Then a red dot pops up underneath the crosshair and shows you the holdover. There's no having to dial in or dial up. It does it all for you. And I'm telling you that. It's a pretty good scope. I've had no problems with it. But here's a caveat. Texas, these are legal. But in some states, and I don't know which ones, I want to say Colorado was one, but I'm not sure. But in some states, this scope is illegal to hunt with. And something about the laser being built into the scope or something, I don't know. All I know is I bought it, it works. I can use it in Texas to kill deer, hogs, whatever. It's not a problem. Of course, 308 is a, plenty good round. I use the same 125 grain bullets. But here's another thing, long range shooters. If you use standard factory reloads, about 800 yards is about all you're going to get out of a 308. Yeah, I know they use them in long range matches all the time. And, but they're using like 180 grain, 175 grain reloaded bullets that they'll carry way on out there. So if you're going to use a 308 for long range shooting, be prepared to get heavier bullets because factory rounds just don't cut it. They start tumbling, you lose all your accuracy because they drop below the speed of sound is what's happening. But anyhow, that's my rifles, what I recommend. And Ruger American, you can't go wrong with that. There's just nothing to go wrong with them. Easy to clean. They work every time. I just like the bolt action, and you don't worry about jamming. And yeah, the suppressor is a little bit quieter on the bolt action, but then again too, when you hit that deer, the thump.
It's your mother calling. Pick up the phone.
All right.
Hello.
My mama's calling, so I'm gonna have to get off here. Thanks for watching.